Welcome to episode 78 of the ABC GCI Coffee Break podcast. My name is Allison Jackson, joined each week by Mike Maloney and Kayla Rodriguez Santiago. Before we get into the episode, I would like to thank our sponsors. Skilled Trades Partners is back as our presenting partner for the month. And then we also have Metro Walls as our lightning round sponsor. Kayla, tell us a little bit about our sponsors this month.
Yes, ma'am. We love Seth and Mary Chisholm at Skilled Trades Partners.
Best.
They are the best, right? You heard
Truly,
me. They
the
are
best.
the best. Oh man, every interaction we've had with Mary and even Jenna, right? Jenna from Skilled Trades, they're just awesome. But if you are looking for staffing for your company, they are the person to go to. So skilled trades are in high demand in any economy, and it takes a staffing partner who understands the trades and the industries they serve to get the job done right. They are a top skilled trades recruitment agency, and their goal is to help companies seamlessly find and retain the most highly skilled tradesmen and construction professionals. So if any companies out there are in need of any employees, reach out to Mary and Seth Chisholm at Skilled Trades Partners. You can go to skilledtradespartners.com for more information. And then our lightning round sponsor, we have Metro Walls, who established in 2004. They're out of Manchester, New Hampshire. Metro Walls boasts an impressive workforce supported by highly trained drywall employees. They have experience in efficient project management and estimator team. Their safety program is top priority for everyone in the company. They are known for their commercial framing, drywall, and acoustical companies out in New England. So if you guys are in need of any of those, please reach out to Metro Walls. They are at metrowalls.net. And that's what we have for responses.
This week's wacky news, when we talked about it before, was the missing submarine. And for those that have not been watching the news, a Titanic submersible, 12,000 feet underwater, has gone missing. And there's
that is a crazy story.
It's a crazy story. Two more. They've got hundreds of people up there looking for them. Some couple of billionaires left in this. It's a 22-foot vessel. So it died to the side of the Titanic.
19-year-old kid on board.
When it lost contact with the support ship, on board are the CEO of OceanGate, a British explorer, a father-son from a prominent Pakistani business family, a French Titanic expert, and the CEO of OceanGate. This is huge. $250,000. We're gonna send you underwater to see the Titanic. Pod Squad, are you going? $250,000.
Absolutely. I mean, at this point, with the Yelp reviews that I'm sure they're getting now, no.
0 reviews, 0 stars.
I mean, I've obviously, me with my conspiracy TikTok obsession, but I have lots of theories, a few of which I'm not going to say on here, because I don't want anyone coming for me at all. But did you look into the waiver that had to be signed in order to do like the training, the safety, like all of it? Like, it's too much. It's too much. They said it's the equivalent of the amount all the way down to where the Titanic is, which is where the water is highly pressured and the ocean is stronger than us.
Right.
We shouldn't be doing this.
Right.
This is clear. Then people were trying to say this way back, but they said that's the equivalent of 9 to 10 Empire State Buildings down.
Yeah, it's 12,000 feet. That's more. Yeah. That's huge. Yeah, 9 to 10. Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
I've been following the story too, and this submarine was built to, if something were to happen, right, where it can't make its way back up, it automatically is supposed to float to the surface. So they think that it's stuck somewhere inside the Titanic where it just can't come up. So can you imagine? And now they can't go down there to help, right? So how are they going to get them out? We don't know.
This point, so when we're recording this podcast, it's 10:30 a.m. on Thursday, the 22nd of June. So they were saying on the news that they were set to run out of air. Absolute last is 6 a.m. this morning. So unfortunately, probably means that. But I did see a video from someone who was a submarine expert in the Navy, And he was saying that, I mean, he was trained in like way more like intricate submarines and submersibles in the military than this kind of like rinky dink, so to speak, submersible that is like for entertainment, recreational purposes, right? So he said, there's a few things it's probably just not fit for it. That's why employees way back when were trying to catch it. And
And
then
what
here we
makes
are.
a person want to do this type of thing? Go underwater, pay $250,000, right, to go underwater 12,000 feet to see the Titanic. Why? Why would anybody want to do it?
Well, okay,
Curiosity.
curiosity 100% and having the means to do it, right? Like this is like going bowling for
Right.
billionaires,
Correct.
right? Like one of the people on this submersible that went missing also did the Elon Musk like space launch thing.
Yep.
Oh wow, yeah.
Thrill
So like
seekers.
these are thrill seeking people
Yep.
that have the means to be able to do this and like probably never thought that like this kind of thing would happen to, I mean, who thinks that this kind of thing would happen to, you know what I mean? You go on a roller coaster, you don't expect to not come
Correct.
off a roller coaster.
But this is controlled by a video
a
game
$30
controller.
Logitech remote control you can buy on Amazon.
They're communicating with the service via text message, and then text messages take a few minutes to go back and forth, right? So that's a huge problem. The ballast that they're using on the submarine is usually welded construction pipes that they drop off to float or sink or whatever. So it's crazy. So real quick, Pod Squad, are we going on this trip or no? We saying no?
Absolutely
Kayla?
not. Nope.
I'm a no.
Absolutely not.
I
I'm
will
good.
wave to you for the last
Yep.
time from the shore.
Go whitewater rafting. Go bungee jumping.
However,
go,
I would go to
No.
space. I would
Go
go
to
to
space?
space. Wouldn't go to the depths of the ocean. That's a
Interesting.
no.
All right. So this week on the podcast, we've got people I met at the ABC National Convention. It is Jenny Schroen and Chris Eccleston. They are authors of the book Grit Leads to Greatness. It's a children's book. I'm going to flash the cover up here. They were great guests. Let's hear it from them. All right. Welcome to the podcast today. My friends from the great state of Maryland. I've got Chris Eccleston and Jenny Schroen here with us today.
Going great.
Great.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This is awesome.
How bad did I butcher the names? Is it okay?
Yeah, no, you got it right.
Not
All
too
right.
bad.
Man, that was a tough one. All right. But we met Jenny and Chris down at the ABC National Convention down in Florida, and they are the work together to create a book called Grit Leads to Greatness. I'm going to flash a picture up on my screen here. It's a fantastic book. It is unlike a lot of other trades books for kids, right? It's a hell of a story. So why don't you tell us a bit about yourselves, and then maybe we'll talk about how the book came to be and how you guys came to work together.
Okay. Chris,
Ladies
you wanna
first. Ladies first.
go? Okay. Well, I am a creative developer for Delmarva Veteran Builders. I'm actually a graphic designer by trade, and I came to work with Chris and the DVB team 5 years ago. And Chris invited me in to just kind of shake up some of the construction industry, just some of the messaging we send out, and just becoming a company that stands out from the crowd. That was kind of the plan. So it's been a lot of fun along the way. So I've been here about 5 years, and Chris, you want to go and tell about what you?
Yeah, so I've been in the construction space for probably close to 20 years now. I started my business, Delmarva Veteran Builders, about 10 years ago, and we wanted to bring the veteran attitude to the Delmarva landscape, and that's Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia for the listeners up in Massachusetts. And we just wanted to bring this, energy, this intensity, this drive, this ambition to the marketplace. And we did a really good job of that. We had all the branches represented. We had veteran, guard, and reservists. They were reaching out, and we were growing really, really fast. And it's been a lot of fun. And so a few years ago, much like everybody else in our industry, we were starting to face severe workforce challenges, not only for us, but our subcontractor base that we depend on. And so we sat down, Jenny and I, and we said, man, we got to do something about this. Why don't we write a children's book? And that's what we did. And that's kind of who we are. So that's what we did.
So tell us a little bit about, when you guys were working together, someone said, let's write a children's book. Who created all the characters? Who created all the whole premise of the book? Because it's amazing. And as I read it or even look at the cover, I can imagine it as like a movie. You imagine it as like an animated movie, right? How cool would that be to see this? It's the characters. It's just not like Bob the Builder. It's not just a guy working. You got a whole story, like deep characters, great character developing. Who come up with all that?
Well, thank you for noticing. That means a lot to both of us.
Yeah.
So Chris and I, this is my office right here. We're sitting, kind of came in and, it's like, let's write a book about construction. And I was like, okay, so we already have this mentality here. We want to do epic things. That's part of one of our core values. And Chris and I we kind of call ourselves both nerds. We really just like adventure stories, things of that nature. So one thing we just kind of went on was if you can see grit leads to greatness on our wall back there, that was actually the tagline of our company that I kind of wrote, but we kind of wrote it in honor of all of our workers here at DVB. So we were like, let's come up with something that kids of all backgrounds, not just kids interested in possibly construction, would read this story and be inspired in ways that would reach everyone. It wouldn't just isolate one group. It would bring everybody together to read a story about adventure, and happens to be about construction.
Yeah, so my idea was kind of originally, I wanted to write a hammer that didn't know he was a hammer. And so he was on the job site helping all the different tools try and do hammer things, right? And then he figured out at the end that he is a hammer and he does serve a purpose. So every tool serves a purpose. And then we would all do the hammer time dance at the end of the book. And Jenny was like, Chris, that's probably the worst idea you've ever come up with. So,
like, I don't know if I feel inspired to write about that. That's kind of where it went down. And we kind of changed the narrative.
So we decided to go on an epic adventure story and then input the trades into the story and make them the hero of the story. We wanted to really change the stigma for parents and educators, because we believe down here it's totally mostly a parent issue. Kids love construction. I mean, you look at little boys and little girls, they're fascinated with big equipment and tools and helping dad and all that, or grandpa. That's exciting, right? And then as they start to age on, we shift them into this different direction and kind of lose that excitement and that energy and that enthusiasm around it. So that's what we really wanted to do. So we said, man, if we created these magical characters and then made them around the trades and just kind of have this trade line through the story, parents and educators, while this book's being read in the classroom, they're going to hear and see the construction trades as heroic and saving the world. And that's what we did in the book. And that's why we went there. I mean, and we actually, once we kind of had a general idea of what we were going to do, then we went out into the field and met with some of our foremans and our subcontractors. We brought in a couple of electricians to help us with Ohm and the electrician magician. So, I mean, all the things you'll see in the book about the characters are right from the field. I mean, the guy's coat, the ribbon on his coat is MC cable. So we had our illustrator, incorporate every single thing into these characters. We wanted to be really specific, and we wanted to bring back that like honor and that artisan flavor of the trades. That's where we came from. That's our heritage, right? And somehow in America, we've lost that. But most trades folks, they have an artistic flair to them, right? They see something and they can build it. And that's artistry. I mean, we should applaud that. That's something that we don't give ourselves a lot of credit for.
I think you're right. I think that's right on the money. The characters based on anybody in real life, do you think? Did you?
Yeah, there's a couple, just some more inspirational just people that we want to kind of represent. I mean, Mason the Mason wasn't really based on a particular person. We just wanted to create a person that just was larger than life, would be a fun character that could really pick up large boulders, but also we just wanted him to be opposite of what an ogre was, an intelligent artist, someone who imparts knowledge to the kids. We thought that would be a fun kind of juxtaposition to what you would expect an ogre to be. Our copper plumber, she's actually inspired by a US track star that I was just so impressed by the grit that this woman, her name's Gabby Thomas, but she ran in the last Olympics, but she's not only an incredible runner, but she's a Harvard graduate, and she just represents so many things. I think is just for women in general, like she just has so many aspects. So Rowan, our carpenter, we wanted to represent more of the indigenous, almost like Central America type nod to the craftsmanship that came from that region. So she was inspired by that. And then with our electrician magician, we had in the story, he's actually the old man in the beginning. So we wanted to kind of make sure that character, he could kind of remove his beard and his glasses and have this I definitely inspired by Back to the Future, the wizards from our past,
Sword in the Stone.
Different things like
and
that.
then actually George Ohm too. I think I said his first name right. I'm not, but we had the illustrator pull up pictures, and pretty much every picture of Ohm, he's got some kind of like neck medallion on.
Yep.
With a kind of ribbon there. I was trying to figure out what kind of metal that was, because we were going to reference it in the book, but I never could find out what it was. But yeah, so his ribbon up here is as a nod to Ohm himself. Yeah. So
you got the Arc the Welder, which is
Yes.
great, which is another like the robot kind of science fiction looking thing, which is great. The dogs, are they based on anybody in real life? They must be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The little dog is my dog Calvin, and then Jake is Chris's dog. And
yeah,
so
lad.
we just, I just, gosh, I love dogs. So kids just like to see, they just go on the adventure. They just go, I'll do the whole thing. And you don't really you're like, oh, there they are again.
And then some of the other characters that are kind of in the background or whatever, we had our family members put in there. We had some of our project managers and superintendents put in there, kind of nod to some folks that worked with us on the book, and some of our staff here at Delmarva Veteran Builders.
Yeah, and Trig and Tegan, our protagonists, they're kind of a combination of several things. Chris, I have 4 children. Chris has 2. He has a son and a daughter. I have a daughter and 3 sons, but I kind of like that sibling dynamic. I felt like when kids are reading it, you always want your siblings kind of work together. And so we thought that was a good combination. But then we also, it's kind of like myself and Chris are kind of the characters as well. And then I use my niece and nephew, who are the similar age as the kids, as like the actual models. We would have them kind of stand in different ways so the illustrators could capture that.
And you brought the book to the national convention. That's where we originally met you guys. How was the convention for you guys? What was the reception about the book?
Oh, so much fun.
Yeah. Opening night of the convention hall. I've said it a couple times, like, I don't know what a celebrity feels like, but that was probably the closest thing that I can imagine. We were inundated. We probably met almost 1,000 people that night alone. And
it was just electric.
It was so much energy, so much enthusiasm. It was probably one of the coolest experiences that I've done professionally. So it was a lot of fun.
Are you going to go back next year?
We're open to it. Our calendar is starting to fill up with a lot of other different groups. So the unfortunate part about our industry, the one thing that we've learned already is pretty much every construction conference happens in February and March.
Yeah. Yep.
Back to back to back to back. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Yep.
Because this year we were actually invited to 2 or 3, but they were all the same weeks. So,
wow.
We chose ABC. So, and I really got to give a shout out while we're on the call to ABC National and the Tribber Construction and Education Foundation and our chapter president, Chris Garvey. Probably a little bit over a year ago, I had sent this out to just a couple people in the industry. The manuscript was done, but the book wasn't. And he was in our office within 24 hours and was like, "This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I can't believe that you guys have done this." And we went and met with the national staff within I don't know, probably 2 weeks.
Wow.
And so that was the energy and the enthusiasm that really kind of gave Jenny and I the push to go forward with
Yeah,
this, because
the
this was,
confidence
yeah,
to do
confidence
this.
too. I mean, this was really just a project for us locally that we were going to do to solve our own workforce, to be in our own schools. I mean, we do some K through 12 work, not a lot, but it's just be a way for us to be in the classrooms year after year. And that was really the extent of the vision for this thing. Now it's really gone national, and that's really a testament to ABC. And I a lot of people talk a lot about a lot of different things, right? And I got to give ABC and Trimmer Construction Education Foundation the props, because they stepped up, their board, they believed in it, they funded it, and they made it happen. And you don't see that happen quite a bit.
That's amazing. That's a great story. So what's next? Is another book coming out? What are we doing here? We're gonna ride the wave here. You gotta
Yeah.
do a second one. I need to know what happens.
I know. There's so many different avenues. We've been asked that a lot. There's talks about maybe going into the worlds of each character and kind of more their backstory, and kind of get more specific with some of the trades that we've gone into. More we want to add in, there's more to this world that we just can't see, of all these different other trades that it was just impossible to fit in one short story. We were already pushing it with this book being at this, they're like, this may be a little too long. I was like, but we need to have you need to have basic trades to be able to repair the city at the end. We need these things. So kind of fought for that. Then we were like, okay, we got to stop, because we really, Chris had to stop me at one point. He's like, Jenny, you're like, we've got enough. We have to stop. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Okay. But yeah, I think the next step is,
well, yeah, I mean, there's actually a pretty funny story there. I mean, we even had one of our publicists told us that we needed to rewrite this book and cut out a lot of the words and scale it down. We obviously didn't hire them. But that's just kind of goes back to that, what I was saying earlier about like publishing, they can't think outside of the box. They got to stay in this. And so they don't understand that there really is a marketplace here. But I think for what's next for us is right now, like in March, what we did, actually a week or two before National Convention, we did a Read Across America event in Salisbury, and we were in about 5 schools. We had 50 companies step up, and they bought 25 books for each classroom, and they went into the classrooms and they read, and there was about an hour of time, and we had every division represented. So we had site work all the way, through electrical, and we even had some residential folks that I know down here, and they came into the classroom and they read the books, and then there was Q&A, and we were in from 2nd grade to 5th grade. And I got to tell you, watching the men and women in there read the book to the school, to the class, the level of energy, the excitement, the pride that they came out of the classroom with. I mean, the notes we got from teachers and parents and educators following that, I have never seen anything like that. I have never seen trades folk get that excited, like get that amped up. I mean, that we're a tough crowd, right? Like we don't get super excited about a lot of stuff. But I have never seen anything like it. It was unbelievable. And it was so magical. We had a principal follow up with us afterwards and said, we had kids talking about wanting to be masons after you guys left, because they wanted to build something that would last forever. We have kids talking about wanting to be electricians so they know how to wire things up. And that's kind of like been another message that's come out of this experience is, learning a trade is like riding a bike. Just because you go into it doesn't mean you have to stay there your whole career.
That's right.
Once you learn how to ride a bike, you always know how to ride a bike for the rest of your life. And the trades are the same thing. So I think people and parents and educators really need to look at this as this is a great stepping stone. If you want to stay in the industry, yes, we need you and want you. But if you don't and you want to use it to go on to go do something else, it's always a backup plan. I mean,
think about the connections, right? So if you're good at math and maybe an estimator, like we were just talking about, you're always good for estimators and project managers. If you're good at multitasking and doing multiple things at the same time, maybe being a project manager, an estimator, something like that, it's a great it's a great way to connect both.
That was some of the things that we loved seeing our different subcontractors, and they would bring in their own specific trade that they did, and they would actually, maybe wear the specific outfits or bring props to show them what their role was within construction. And that was really cool to see them kind of make it their own. And that was something we didn't really totally prep everybody for. It was kind of our test phase, really. And we had this one of our storefront guys, he's probably in his early 30s. I'm not sure exactly, but we were finished with the read day, and we're gathering all of the different people who did the reading, and we were like, where is so-and-so? And we went back to the classroom. He was in there for over an hour and a half. The kids wouldn't let him leave. They were asking questions. They were like, because my fear was that, are these kids going to be bored? You know how these days you always have this fear, like, kids these days don't appreciate it.
Yep.
That's not true at all. These kids were so sweet, so welcoming, and they wanted to know. They ate up every information that this guy gave to them. And so that was really reassuring and a testament to, like, we need more of this in the classroom. So
yeah, I mean, the response we've gotten has been overwhelming, but to follow up on that too, is we want to scale what we did here all across America now. And we want to use groups like ABC, the different chapters. NICA's another group that's expressing some interest, AGC. And we're working with like 4 chapters right now that are going to be wanting to do similar style events. And it's these contractors that are stepping up to buy these classrooms books and then go into the classroom and read. So scaling that on a national level, we want to show traditional publishers and multimedia. There is a marketplace for this. You talked about this at the beginning. This could be a movie. This could be an animated series, right? Well, how freaking cool would that be if something like that happens? Right? What that would do for our industry. And so our industry, nobody's coming to save us. Like, if we're not going to step up and do it ourselves, it's not going to get done.
The message of the book,
right?
it's almost like our book.
Yeah. So we have to come together like never before. And it's our moment in time. Everybody looks at it as a challenge. Nobody's looking at it on the positive side, right? This is our moment in time. We have a competitive advantage. We have a legacy opportunity like no other industry. We can share the history, the rich history, the like I talked about, the artisan flavor, all of that. We can pass the torch and create a legacy that no other industry has that.
And how cool would it be a couple of years from now when the 2nd to 5th graders show up to your jobs, your doorstep with an application like, I want to come work for you because someone came to read me a book back in the 2nd grade. That
would be amazing.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too that we want to work on, we want to have some success here first with this book, but I think there has to be a systematic approach to this to create the feed and the interest level for middle school and high school. So 3rd grade, 6th grade, 8th grade, 10th grade, right? Like, there has to be a systematic thing that we're doing, and it's all age appropriate, but that's what's cool with these characters is, you could gamify this thing, put it in AR or like a Fortnite thing.
Yep.
Make a game where they're building something and they have different skins, and that's gonna talk to a entirely different crowd of folks in the middle school and high school level.
When do you think the shift will be as far as like kids going into a traditional college or like going into the trades? Do you think where does that shift happen? Do you think how much more time do we have to wait? Kind of a crazy question, but
I think it's here now.
Yeah.
I think parents. I remember college has just become unaffordable for so many.
Yep.
So I think economics is driving it. But I think
I have a college age son, right? He's going to school here in Boston. And it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And
So I think parents
I have 2 in college.
are really starting to ask the question, what's the return on investment there? So I think that's a national conversation that's kind of happening at home. And then the trades are just, there's starting to become so many folks across the board that are just kind of stepping up and trying to do creative things. And you've seen a massive, that's what I think there also is a whole big messaging piece that's missed on the trade side, like robotics and the future of what the trades is going to be. I mean, we haven't seen anything like it. I mean, this space is going to be totally disrupted in the next 15 years. It's awesome. That's exciting. Like, yeah, everybody got a doom and gloom, but I mean, the technology, the money that's going to come in, like all the efficiencies, all that kind of stuff. That's super exciting. I don't see why kids or parents wouldn't be excited by that.
Yeah, and I think we want to share more of those
Yeah.
technologies, and that's where we've been trying to do some research ourselves and aligning ourselves with people who are, the future of construction. Those really exciting ideas that, I mean, kids would love to hear, and parents want to know about it too, because like even myself as a parent, I sometimes don't know all the opportunities out there, and I want my kids to, like, obviously you think about the college experience and all those fun things. I want my kids to have that excitement of their life too. So I think finding out more about, as a graphic designer, there's different art schools out there that create their it's not traditional college, but it's also very technologically driven. It's very, the design's really well done. Like I really, I would personally love to see trade schools just really not trying to make it be like, some sort of like dingy place to go learn, like a really a great environment that makes people feel like they're first rate, just like everybody else. And I'm sure there's many out there. It's just, I would like to see more.
Here in Massachusetts, some of the vocational schools, there's a waiting list to get in, and it's crazy the amount of time. There's you could apply in the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade to get ready to go as a 9th grader here in Massachusetts. So there's interviews, and it's just, they don't just take. In the old days, they just, at least where I came from, at least you went to the trades if you weren't going to go to college, right? You're going to go be a mechanic, or you're going to go be a plumber. That's fine. You go to the trade school, but nowadays it's more. There's a lot of robotics, like you said. Some of the members here are using 3D scanners and scan they before they even put a piece of sheetrock up, they scan the whole place and map the whole place out with AI. It's crazy. All right. So what about some advice? If someone out there wanted to write a book like this, what would you tell them?
Run.
I kind of knew that. I knew that was
We
coming.
joke around, we wrote the titles "Grit Leads to Greatness," so giving up isn't an option for us. So, like, even with our darkest days, I mean, it's been over 2 years since we even first started to write this, and thank goodness we have my husband and his wife Ken, like there have been very angels and saints to us, because we've been dedicating a lot of our time. I mean, the part is just getting the time, finding the time to write. Even if you have the idea, setting yourself down and writing it, that's a whole other thing, just to get it down.
Yeah, it's discipline. I mean, the construction business too, at least on the general contracting side, I'm used to getting told no a lot. You're going to get told, you don't get told no as much in the book world, I don't think, at least the stuff that we're finding. Like what we find is, oh yeah, we're going to do this for you, and then it never happens. So They just it's fun. I'll tell you, we've been in front of about 2,000 kids so far. Making an impact in somebody's life, to me, is worth it. So
yeah, that was the part of the book that was
been
really
the most fun.
That part of the book was really important. Have that lesson in there. Chris and I had studied, looked into the Stoics and just different stories about obstacles shaping you and changing the way you live. Like, actually, hardship is what forms greatness. And so that was something we'd already talked before the book was even written, but that was something, we wanted to really put into kids' minds about how life is just difficult. I mean, it is. Everybody's going to face a challenge. It's not that life is easy. It's a fairy tale. It is not, and we've all seen that in different ways in our own lives. So I think equipping kids with ways to look at challenges in a positive way that it can teach them things is something that really was important to us. But I mean, writing a book, I was at my childhood home, and I found an old diary. I was 10 years old, and I wrote that I wanted to write a book one day, and I just found it recently, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's written down. I texted Chris. I was like, yes, it's there. Like, I did it, That's 30 years ago that I wrote that. And I mean, I've done a lot of creative things, but never wrote a book. And that was just, I think just even that, when it got printed and you got to see it, you're like, that was just something that was a cool accomplishment to say you did it, even if no one ever read it.
Yeah, I'd say too, just have realistic expectations on what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We did a lot of research before this. the average first time author is going to sell between 500 and 2,500 bucks. So
Even less than that.
yeah, I mean, that's what you got into it. So kind of know that going into it and be okay with it. And if something else happens above that, you know,
Be excited.
Be excited. Yeah. So
All right. So the book is called Grit Leads to Greatness. I got my copy given to me by the authors of the book. It's right here. Yeah. Love it. If anybody out there wants to get a copy of the book, how can they do that?
Right now we have the book is we call it pre-sale, but it's getting ready just to go to regular sales because we actually have all the books in hand right now today of all days. So you can go on our website, gritleadstogreatness.com, and you can order through there. We are getting ready to launch onto Amazon in the next 30 days. So we'll be on Amazon in the US and Canada as well, and Mexico. So we'll be able to find us on Amazon as well. We're also doing, Chris mentioned the classroom bundles. So we are selling those as well. It's books of 25 a piece, and you can take that to your own hometown and organize a read day. We're gonna have more information on that, but that's something that a couple ABC chapters are getting ready to do for October. They're organizing that right now, and hopefully
if ABC Massachusetts wants to do something, or if there's contractors up in that area, they can reach out to us. Our contact information is on our website, gritleadstogreatness.com, the title of the book spelled out. So we'd be happy to work on that. And one thing, well, you saw them down there, but we didn't talk about it. Mason the Mason and Copper the Plumber, they were made out in Hollywood by the same company that does Fortnite and Marvel and all the big, all the Comic-Con movie productions. So we went, the highest of the high quality on that, and they were on display down in Florida. So we hope they've been in about 10 different schools now, and we hope they get to go and meet a bunch of people all over the world now.
It's funny, when I brought my copy home and I was reading it in bed one night, my wife's like, "What are you reading?" I said, "Oh, I'm reading Grit Leads to Greatness." She's like, "Is that a kid's book?" I'm like, "Yeah, why? Who cares?" It was great. She was like, "What are you reading a kid's book for?" I said, "Because it's a super cool book, because I'm going to read it." It is fantastic, Grit Leads to Greatness. But now comes my personal favorite, best part of the podcast. It's the lightning round. I want to ask Jenny and Chris here 10 rapid fire questions, and we'll see how they do here. If you could add anybody to Mount Rushmore, who would it be and why? Jenny?
Marilyn Monroe.
Arnold
Why?
Schwarzenegger.
Oh, see, no one's ever said Marilyn Monroe or Arnold Schwarzenegger. Those are good ones. Favorite sandwich?
Oh, gosh, a good old turkey sandwich with plenty of mayo.
Dagwood. You ever heard? You know what that is?
Oh yeah, that's an old school Dagwood. Geez, you haven't done that in a long time. Do you fold your pizza?
In New York style pizza, yes.
I fold the slice. Yeah.
Fold the slice. It's your turn to sing karaoke. What are you singing?
I either sing Midnight Train to Georgia or I Think We're Alone Now, which is like a 60s song.
Love Shack, B-52.
Those are great ones. Favorite movie of all time?
Forrest Gump.
Last of the Mohicans.
If you could invite any celebrity to dinner, dead or alive, who would you invite?
Elvis Presley.
I'm going to go with George Washington.
Whoa, that's a good one. No one's ever said Washington.
He's not like a celebrity. I guess he is. He's
yeah. Let's see. What else can we ask you? Favorite holiday tradition?
I think I like 4th of July the best. It would just grilling out hamburgers, putting on fireworks, and playing again Elvis Presley, his trilogy song. My mom always cries and she's raising her hands. Anyway, it's a good memory.
Regifting the fruitcake. No.
So if you're paying attention at Delmarva, if you're getting a fruitcake, it's been regifted from Chris.
We have a Halloween party every year in our neighborhood now, and there's like 200 or 300 people that come, so it's a lot of fun.
Oh God! All right, how about if you could go forward in time or back in time, where would you go and why?
I would go back in time, and everything I've said has been from the 1960s era.
Yeah.
It's my favorite time. Mad Men, one of my favorite TV shows. I love everything about JFK. I love the style, mid-century design, the best. I just think it was a volatile time. So I don't, obviously a lot of crazy things happening, but it just seemed like it just had almost like a movie quality aspect to it.
Love it.
I'm going to ancient Rome to learn from the Stoics and the creation of the Republic form of government.
Geez, fantastic answers. Another one we'll ask. Usually,
I have
ask.
one more thing to add to the Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
The reason I like Marilyn Monroe so much is that my great grandmother, who lived with me until 1987, she claimed that Marilyn Monroe was her long lost daughter, stolen at birth.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Would you ever find that out about
no
that?
DNA evidence for sure, but she had a daughter named Norma Jean, which is Marilyn Monroe's real name, born around the same time. And the baby was taken away after giving birth. And they said that it died, but she never saw the body, never saw anything. So as time went on, Marilyn Monroe became famous. They have the same widow's peak, which is like a hairline that comes down like that. Anyway, so that's the whole life I've thought that was the story behind it. So anyway.
That's a book in itself.
I don't know if I want to know the truth.
That's the book we should. That's the next book we should be writing.
Yeah,
that's the next.
there you go.
That's the next crazy book. Let's see. What else can I ask you? Favorite meal to cook?
Oh man, I usually cook a chicken parm. It's actually chicken romano. It's a recipe from the Cheesecake Factory of all places. But you add a little breading to the chicken, and then you do some sort of like creamy tomato sauce. So
I'm a barbecue chicken or a steak on the grill.
All right, and then this one's always good. If you weren't doing what you're doing now, graphic designer with Chris, what would you be doing?
I would probably either be a travel writer, or I would be a restaurant concept designer. I love going to restaurants that have that energy, that vibe, all that stuff. I thrive on going to a new restaurant.
I think this book and being around kids again has made me probably, so 2 answers. Be it like a teacher, elementary school teacher, or probably like a small business coach, helping small businesses kind of grow and get better.
Love it. And then we always ask this question because it's the Coffee Break podcast. How do you like your coffee?
I drink coffee every morning. If I don't have my coffee, it is a terrible day.
Yep.
It's a thing I drink when I wake up, and I always put Hershey's International style creamer in there, and then I do whipped cream on top. And if someone says that it's bad for you, I don't care.
I have 2 cups every morning, and I drink it straight black.
It's a very military answer, but Chris was a Navy veteran. We can't fault him being a Navy veteran. Like I said, we started with Marine. That's the Marines Uber, so we use just him for the right. But everybody, this is the folks from Grit Leads to Greatness. Thanks, guys, very much. It was a great interview, and reach out to them if you want to get a copy of the book.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. Thanks.
All right. Thank you to Chris and Jenny for an amazing interview. And I do want to say that the illustrations are amazing. When Mike first received the book, I, flipped through it, skimmed, through the pages, and the illustrations are just so unique and colorful. And I just love it. So, shout out to them, Chris and Jenny. You guys did an amazing job, and your illustrator, really, really great work. Allison, what do we have for trainings this week?
Last chance to get a training in before August. June 27th, we have a lockout tagout class. It's one of the topics that's covered in the OSHA 10-hour. So it's something that's expanded upon in this class. So it's really good information to know for electricians, really any trade in the construction industry. So definitely check that out before it's too late. And then August 29th, the very end of August, is the next training that we have on the calendar. It's going to be a first aid CPR class. Really good time to brush up on your skills right before the school year starts. Then we have a construction supervisor license prep for exam. So if you have your exam coming up for your CSL license, make sure to get in on that. September 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th. You do have to attend all of the sessions in order to get all the info. Finally, we have a Hoist 1C2A continuing education. So if you already have your Hoist 1C2A license, you need to get your hours to keep it. Make sure you get in on this class on September 9th. You can check out all of these classes and the rest of the classes that we have through December 2023 at gwgci.org/events. All
right, now next comes not everyone's favorite anymore. This is like the third favorite behind events. And Factor Crap. It's time for the news. The newsletter is brought to you by Kenny and Sam's and Patriot Benefits Services. This is part of the weekly update that comes out every week by Charlie Chipio. The featured news of the week is we want to let people know not to forget about the chapter event with the Massachusetts Labor Secretary Lauren Jones. She is having a special meeting with us over at the Burlington Marriott on Tuesday, June 27th at 7:30 in the morning. please come. You can register right through the newsletter that gets sent out to you. We'd love to have everyone there to show some support. Last week was a golf tournament, huge success. They had over 300 golfers and 339 total attendees. The event was sold out in a hurry. A lot of people missed out because they're, not checking their email, not getting communication. So keep next year open. I believe it's June 20th. It's the third Thursday in June next year. It was a fantastic day. It was a beautiful weather. It was great. We had 24 sponsors for the event, and we want to thank them. Big day next week, June 27th. We're going to have our very first GCI open house. Kayla's putting all the finishing touches on the open house here. So it's open for everybody. Admission is free. You can come and register for the early bird pricing. Kayla, anything else you want to tell about the open house?
Absolutely. So we hope to see everyone and anyone at the open house. It's June 27th. It's going to be from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. We wanted to give folks time to get there. We do expect a lot of the apprentices and even just companies to be out, kind of later in the day, but we really hope to see folks there. We're going to have some light refreshments, snacks, some GCI swag. You can ask any questions. The entire admin team is going to be there, including our workforce development director on the ABC side. But if you have any questions, this is your opportunity to come out and talk to the admin staff about, you're going to have the president there. You're going to have Mike Maloney, the apprenticeship director, Diane Craven, our director of education, Julie DeStefano, which is our president, Allison Jackson, which is our marketing and content manager, and then myself, Kayla Rodriguez Santiago. So we're just going to have everybody there available at your service. Come out, come have fun with us. We're going to have a balloon arch. That's all I have to say.
It's going to be crazy. But, if you
It's
have
gonna be
questions
crazy,
about
everyone. It's gonna be
Glow
crazy.
sticks.
Woburn police will be on, nearby just in case things get out of hand, crowd control. But it's never been done, an open house. We're going to have in person. If you need help with registration, you have questions about curriculum, you want to talk to some teachers, it's going to be a great day. We're hopefully past the pandemic hump here to get people in person, but it's going to be a fantastic event. Kayla's has been doing a great job. So would also like to take a moment to recognize the passing of Barbara Hudson, formerly of Elsie Anderson. And we're saddened to report the death of Barbara Hudson, mother of Elsie Anderson leaders Carl and Kurt Hudson at 83 years old. When ABC legend Warren Hudson purchased Elsie Anderson in 1995, Barbara handled the books and financial side of the business. Barbara was a deeply caring person whose door was always open. Even today, much of the company's culture can be traced back to the values Barbara exemplified. So we're giving present thoughts to the Hudson family.
Yeah.
Mass DLA selects Mike Sams of Kenny and Sam's Lawyer of the Year. Congratulations, Mike Sams. Talk about the Nozick Construction completes 10 Winthrop Square. Tenant fits out. They've got 2 interior fit outs for tenants at 10 Winthrop Square in downtown Boston. We'll congratulate Bob Belanger from Deco. He's been promoted to recruitment and retention director, which is fantastic. Bob's a great guy. Bob's an outstanding member of the Deco team. We congratulate him on his new role. Also looking for guests for the podcast for the summer. If you want to be on the podcast, reach out to me, mike@gwgci.org. And if you want to have some sort of announcement done in the newsletter, reach out to communications@abcma.org. Last night, we also had our very first teacher summit. It was a fantastic event. We had about 30 teachers in the building in person. We did a little bit of administrative roles and responsibilities. That was my part. And then Dave Frangillo, our daytime electrical teacher, did a great job just teaching the teachers how to be better teachers. Positive feedback from everybody. It was a great time. And it was nice to see everybody in person and not just through the Zoom. So lots going on. So stay tuned for more. Podcast is just going to get better here, go through the summer. And we appreciate everybody listening. And what do you think, Allison?
No, with that, be sure to follow us on Instagram at ABCGCI Coffee Break. Be sure to follow us on Spotify and all the places that you listen to your podcasts. Rate us 5 stars, leave us a review. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you all next week.